special effects,
Hello?
like the behind-the-scenes footage of
Yeah,
the
hello.
Avengers, Man of
Good
Steel,
evening.
Pirates of the Caribbean, and so much
Good
more.
morning
Long
for me,
before
but
Johnny
good
Depp's
evening
live-action
for you.
courtroom drama, he and Orlando Bloom were
Your
busy
name
fighting off
is
zombie
Asma.
sharks
My
on a
name is
sinking boat. The only problem is,
Ashish Datta.
zombie sharks are a little hard to come by, so the Pirates of the Caribbean VFX team made do with a massive blue screen set,
Okay.
a
yeah.
hydraulic-powered
Nice to meet
boat,
you,
and
ma'am.
plenty
Nice
of
to meet you.
imagination.
And where are you in the world right now?
I'm now
Tom
in
Holland
India.
starred in the video game remake Uncharted, whose opening scene is a
where in
high-octane
India
fall
do
from a
you live?
cargo plane without a
I am
parachute.
from eastern part of
You'd
India.
think Spider-Man would be okay
It is
doing his own aerial
basically
stunts, but they've brought in wires, a
Kolkata.
giant hydraulic
Its
arm, and a
name-
blue
city
set to
name
help
is
producers
Kolkata,
pull
yes.
off the death-defying scenes. You don't even need to use
And
real
were you
cars in
born
movies
and
anymore.
raised there, or did you move there?
No, I was born in
This iconic
here.
scene from X-Men Days of
And
Future Past has Quicksilver rushing in to save his
grew
colleagues
up
from an
here.
explosion at 2,000 miles per second. To
And
create this
so
faster-than-sound
why
sequence,
are you
filmmakers
learning
filmed
English
Evan
for
Peters running on a
personal
treadmill and blended it with a
things, or is
rotating
it
shot that
Yeah,
had been
my-
slowed down.
It is,
The result was this
necessary
slow-mo
for my
masterpiece.
self-development.
This scene in John Wick 3 just
And
couldn't have been
my
filmed on a real
personal
street.
work,
Instead, fake
I
motorbikes,
am a
green
stock
carts, a
market
complex
trader.
winch system, and a
That's
whole
why
bunch
it
of
is
dudes in green morph suits all
necessary
helped
to
Keanu Reeves
talk
fight
to
off his
different
attackers in
type of
slow motion.
Client. Okay.
They even had a guy blowing
And
wind on
southern part
Keanu's
of
hair to make it look like the
India,
bike
they
was
don't
moving.
understand.
Speaking of Spider-Man, ever
They
wondered
don't
how they make your
understand
friendly neighborhood
of
Spidey look so
Hindi
good? It's
language
mostly blue screens.
Or northern part of language. That's why if someone
And a whole lot of fighting that only really looks good from a
knows
certain angle. Despite
the
all the
English
help,
language,
some of Tom's acrobatics are
we
actually
can
quite
connect to the
impressive.
northern
This
part
scene from
and southern
Supergirl
part
looks a
of it.
little different without the post-effects added in. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
So you're
Superheroes
learning
without their
because of
powers
your
just look
job
like
and
mimes
because of
in
the
fancy
clients that you have to
leotards.
deal with.
We're not gonna win this today.
Okay, that's great. That's not bad. And how do you feel?
When the
it's
cast
going for
returned to
you? Like
Jumanji,
your-
the
like in your
majority
English
of their
learning?
jungle
How's it
adventures were
going?
way too dangerous to
English is
film
my
for
second
real. Plus,
language.
where are you gonna find a
Okay,
herd of angry ostriches at short notice?
I know writing English and
The film and effects crew utilized some inventive blue screen sets and high-end
fluent.
CGI to create a visual
when I tried
masterpiece.
to fluent that time, I missed out lot of errors, kind of things, errors.
One of the
or
biggest movies of all
sentence
time, Avengers
construction.
Endgame, was an absolute masterpiece in terms of visual
is for
effects and
conversation.
computer-generated
Is that right?
backdrops. Not only did teams have to
Conversationally,
render special abilities and
not
costumes
frame
onto
out
hundreds of
properly.
superheroes, but all this with an apocalyptic wasteland as the backdrop. I have to
Because
say
of
though, I
the
thought
errors.
Thanos
You
would have
mean
been
like
taller.
grammar errors.
Grammar errors means sometimes I miss out prepositions and
Rather than
sometimes
trying
I
to
miss
teach
out
Jason Momoa how to
tense.
breathe underwater, the team
Okay.
behind Aquaman
When
used
I
some
talk
pretty
to
inventive
past
visual
tense,
effects
that
to bring the
time
DC
I
superhero
miss
comic
out
to
past
life.
tense and
Lighting,
present tense.
wires, and motion capture were all employed to take this above-ground set straight to Atlantis. Superman's Man of Steel makes every kid want to fly, but the secret to this superhero's flight ability all comes down to wires, pulleys, and a team of people pulling the strings. He's not really faster than a speeding bullet, it just looks
But
like
I
it when
also
you speed
feel
up the
like
tape.
it's,
The
you know, it
powers
would be
might be
very
fake, but the
difficult
Man of
to
Steel's
access
abs
your
are
conversation
100% real.
How often are you on camera?
I have taken
You're
near
probably
about
not shocked to find out
5
that the
class
dinosaurs in
in
Jurassic
family.
World aren't real.
You've
That's
got
right,
five-
they're almost completely
5 class,
CGI. Wait, almost?
And also, I am also using another application. Okay.
We hate to ruin the mystery behind
in-
these fierce velociraptors,
in
but they're
India,
actually just guys in gray
there
leotards
is
and
another
raptor helmets.
application.
For the most part, Chris Pratt just has to
we
pretend
can
there's a
talk to
vicious
English.
predator standing in front of him.
Indian teacher. Okay.
What about the T-Rex?
Oh, I think I know this app.
Nope,
Clapping,
completely
clapping.
computer generated. In
Clapping,
this scene from
yeah.
World War Z,
Is it
Brad Pitt's
green?
character throws a live
Yeah,
grenade
green,
inside an
green.
airplane
Yeah,
to save
yeah,
himself from
I've
a
seen
frenzied
it
zombie
before,
herd.
yeah.
Rather than
Clapping,
sacrifice
clapping.
100 extras at 30,000
And
feet,
when
the
the
special
Indian
effects team
teacher,
used a prop plane, wind cannons, wires, and a
us.
giant green screen set to create
Okay.
the epic
Right.
scene.
I've seen it on YouTube
Because when I am learning
In the live-action
language,
reboot of the Disney
basically
classic
English
Aladdin,
is a
it was always
problem.
going to be a
I'm
challenge to
learning
bring
how to
all the
French,
magical
Spanish,
elements to life. From
and
flying the magic
Latin.
carpet to running through the Cave of
No
Wonders,
way.
producers used
We
blue
can
screens,
speak
Yeah.
hidden
Spanish to
supports,
each other.
Okay.
and specially designed motion capture suits for Will Smith's Genie.
Okay. Basically,
If you wanted me to describe the plot of Alice in Wonderland, I'd probably say it's 2 parts fever dream mixed with 3 parts of whatever the caterpillars got. True to the surreal nature of the novel, the 2010 remake relied on whimsical CGI, green suits, and stilts to create characters of all sizes and perspectives.
Basic problem is English language. When I am trying to learn English language, I'm learning near about.
The logistics of building a massive wall are way beyond most film companies. It's even beyond most presidents. That's the reason why producers working on Maze Runner used incredibly realistic CGI to render these massive maze walls. There's only small constructions used for reference. The rest is a complete fabrication.
Miss out lot of things because
in Disney's Beauty and the Beast remake, the fearsome prince-turned-monster is a terribly intimidating creature. In reality, it's just a guy in a motion capture suit. I'm not sure if that's padding he's got there, or if the guy only does leg day, but those are some beastly quads. This river rapids scene in The Hobbit had so much going on all at once. There's a raging river, orcs firing arrows and swinging swords, as well as making sure all the dwarves stay in their barrels. Swap out weapons for green pool noodles, add in some well-timed splashes of water, you got yourself an authentic indoor river rapid adventure.
The word is it's used differently depending on the context.
Behind the silky smooth animation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
if you have no context,
who knew there were actually 4 ninjas underneath it all wearing motion capture suits and fake shell backpacks made out of foam? Cowabunga!
That's right.
But we're still a few years away from the android servants used in the Kingsman Golden Circle, but the special effects team used an actress in a green morph suit to render a fairly convincing CGI droid. The robot stand-in even wore roller skates to give the movement some authenticity for the final shot.
I am learning Spanish, French.
Take your shirt off.
A movie full of sentient apes is a VFX team's worst nightmare. Even though finding extras that act like monkeys sounds easy enough, adding the computer rendering to a dozen motion capture suits is an exhausting process. But the end result is all worth it. While watching Planet of the Apes, it's hard to tell it's just some guys in gray costumes monkeying around. The Matrix was one of the first movies to really use mind-bending VFX and innovative cinema techniques in a way people hadn't seen before. They coined the bullet time shot to create this bullet-dodging scene on the rooftop using green screens, multiple moving cameras, and wires to keep Neo from hitting the ground.
Then we can have a conversation in Spanish.
When it comes to superheroes, there's one you definitely call overpowered, with almost every superpower in the book in her arsenal. Making Captain Marvel come to life on the big screen was any VFX animator's dream.
My mother tongue is a Bengali.
If climbing Mount Everest is one of life's hardest achievements, it makes sense that a film crew wouldn't be up at the peak of the world's highest mountain. Instead, teams built base camps under a giant green screen backdrop. Treacherous walks across icy caverns and climbs up rock peaks are all done in the comfort of an air-conditioned set. America's favorite superhero, Captain America. He needed a little help pulling off the superhuman feats on display during Civil War, and help came courtesy of some cool practical and visual effects. When he's not manhandling helicopters,
it's like a boy and a girl.
He's leaping 2 stories into an open window. When you're doing a live-action remake of a story that has only one human character, your VFX team is going to have their work cut out for them. In Disney's 2016 Jungle Book remake, extras in blue morph suits take the place of monkeys, only to be edited in later. Baloo is just Jon Favreau sitting in a pool, and Mowgli has to pretend those hand puppets are actually wild animals. Tom Cruise is famous for doing all his own stunts and insisting on cinematography as opposed to CGI where possible. In Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, the trick wasn't adding in computer rendering to make these shots look more impressive. It's about getting the camera in the right places as Tom runs impossible lines on the outside of the wall's tallest skyscraper. Back in the old days of cinema, teams would have to wait until snowfall to shoot classic scenes like this one in Mulan. Now it's all done in post-production. Even the horse is fake. Likewise, any of the scenes involving any of the aerial acrobatics.
Spanish is the sweetest also.
It's all done at half speed with wires to help the actors jump and spin through the air.
some of
To
the
perfectly
word is
map the
similar.
behaviors, movement, and actions of a friendly dog in the Call of the Wild, the
I'm going
VFX team
to,
used an
like,
actor in a
way
motion
later
tracking
when I
suit
don't have
instead of
classes
training an
anymore,
actual
I'm going
dog.
to look
Good
for a
boy.
video of someone speaking Bengali.
In Disney's Maleficent,
For me, I
Angelina
think
Jolie's
Spanish
portrayal
is
was
just so
equal parts
romantic, like the
amazing
way
and
people- Well,
terrifying,
it
but
depends on
creating
the
her
person,
winged
right?
flight
Because,
into
like,
battle
when
and
you move into
aerial
the country,
acrobatics
people do
couldn't have
different
been
things.
done
There's
without the
some
help
people
of a
that just
blue
speak
screen
very,
set, a
like,
complex
everything
system
sounds
of rotating
romantic. Like, when you
harnesses, and a
ask
team
them-
of
Spanish
blue-suited
language also
technicians.
romantic language. Yeah,
Oh my God.
Spanish is a romantic language.